Welcome back, movie viewers, to my fourth review. Before we start, I would like to say thank you for all the likes, comments, and follows. It's much appreciated. So this one is a little bit dated, but I thought I'd have to review it anyway, going back to 2019. And of course, it is the film Joker. So buckle up as we have a look at this epic movie.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
What's your name?
My name's Arthur.
Well, there's something special about you, Arthur, I can tell. Where you from?
I live right here in the city with my mother. She says I was put here to spread joy and laughter.
What's so funny?
She always tells me to smile and put on a happy face.
So today for this review, I thought I'd wear the suit that most resembled the colour purple, or what I could find in the wardrobe for the Joker film. So this film stars Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck. So Arthur Fleck is a resident in Gotham City. He has good intentions. He lives with his mother. He's a basically struggling comedian. He also works as a clown for parties and for children's hospital, I believe. So it's basically set in the 1980s in Gotham, where things are pretty grim and pretty dark for a lot of the residents that live there.
Can you please stop bothering my kid?
Sorry.
Whilst this movie is a supervillain movie or an origin movie for the character, the Joker, this movie does remind me of a couple of other films as well. Have you ever seen the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas? If you haven't, it's a very good watch, and this movie does remind me a lot of that particular movie. It also has hints of Fight Club, which was basically in my top 5 movies, one of the best movies ever made, and American Psycho with Christian Bale. So all those three films together do feel like they have inspired this film to a degree. Of course, it's standing alone by itself as a Joker film, but it's very much a movie where you've got an individual and basically they've fallen through the cracks in society, and it's somebody's downfall basically, or somebody spiraling out of control, and we as the audience have no choice but to join them on this ride into the darkness.
It's something funny. Stay down, freak!
So the character of the Joker is complex to say the least. So we have had a few actors that have played the iconic role over the years, from Jack Nicholson, which I grew up with in 1989 in the movie Batman. Then we've also got, of course, Mark Hamill, that plays the cartoon version of the Joker, which I find very good. And of course, we've got Heath Ledger, which basically changed the game for that particular character. And then we've got Jared Leto's attempt at it as well. So Joaquin Phoenix walking into this particular movie had big shoes to fill. And despite all the people that came before him, he's absolutely nailed this role. So let's have a look at it in a little bit more depth.
Hello, it's good to be here.
So as the film progresses, we see the many struggles that Arthur goes through, mainly with his mental health, which is a massive part of this movie. So we do see him going to his counsellor, who is 1 foot out the door, really meets with him once a week, asks very basic questions, and there's not really much help at all. Coupled with Arthur living at home with his elderly mother, who used to work for Thomas Wayne, and she holds the Wayne family up on a pedestal, which Arthur is basically subject to viewing. and also thinking along the lines of his mother that the Wayne family are rich, powerful, and very good people when they're anything but.
Arthur, I have some bad news for you. This is the last time we'll be meeting.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
As the movie continues, we do see that Arthur has a love interest. There's a lady with a young kid that lives in his building or on the same floor, and obviously he looks to her as being a somewhat partner, so to speak. But as the movie rolls on, things go from bad to worse for old Arthur, and there comes a point in the film where he completely just snaps, and that is his progression into the character known as the Joker. Now, again, as I mentioned, mental health plays a massive part in this movie. There is a huge twist which, when I first viewed the film in theaters, I did not see coming at all. And that's why I think this movie stands out from a lot of the other performances of the Joker, with, of course, Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, where it really delves into the depths of darkness and why this character is like he is. He lives in a society that has basically kicked him to the curb, does not give a crap about him, and he gets backed into a corner, and we see that just explode basically on the screen.
And finally, in a world where everyone thinks they can do my job, check out this guy.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed at me. Well, no one's laughing now.
You can say that again, pal.
Robert De Niro does an amazing job as a talk show host called Murray, which Arthur Fleck idolizes because Arthur wants to become a stand-up comic just like Murray or Robert De Niro. So as we see in the trailer, Arthur tries his hands at stand-up comedy, and Murray grabs a hold of that particular footage and uses it on his talk show as basically a prop to humiliate this up-and-coming comedian. And when Arthur sees this, it basically does something to him that no one can really explain. We have your idol turn against you and basically send you further into the depths of this darkness. So now, instead of an idol, he's looking at Robert De Niro as the enemy as opposed to somebody that he looked up to.
It's so awful, isn't it?
So as we see at the start of the film, we've got Arthur who's struggling with his mental illness, struggling with his employment and looking after his mother and just living in Gotham in general. But something happens. As he progresses further into the role of the Joker, you can see his confidence start to grow in all aspects of his life. So when the makeup starts to come on, he actually looks a lot healthier. He walks with more pride, and you can definitely see that the old Arthur is being pushed aside. Someone that did have good intentions, but he's making his way into the mastermind criminal that is the Joker. So it's a very good take on this particular character, because the Joker in itself, nobody really knows his origin. And whilst this is an origin story, and a lot looked at this film as, well, we should kind of leave that alone because you're going to be wrecking the Joker character, I feel it's a great insight into how the Joker became the Joker. So as the film progresses, we do see him starting to really improve in this role and in this new personality that is ultimately going to be him.
For my whole life, I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do.
So it's very well known the lengths that Heath Ledger went to create the Joker back in The Dark Knight in 2008. So Joaquin, because this was an origin story, he took a different approach. His first thing that he did was to study a hell of a lot of antidepressants and the side effects that those drugs can have, either severe weight gain or weight loss. And as we can see with Arthur Fleck in the movie, they mention that he's on several different types of medication and he looks malnourished and very thin as well. A few of the other things that he did was start to improvise some things with the director in the film that were definitely not in the script, especially one scene where he's dancing in the bathroom that was definitely not in the script, and they made it into the movie. The last thing that he did was study a very rare illness where people burst out with laughter uncontrollably, and we can see that in the film, that when Arthur has his moments of his condition where he starts to laugh, it looks like he's in excruciating pain. He's not smiling, he's trying to control something that he's got no control of. So they are very unique ways in which Joaquin studied to ultimately put this version of the Joker on screen.
Him.
You can see that the happiest men all got rivers. What?
I'm watching an old war movie.
So the way the film wraps up, without going into too many spoilers, I really enjoyed. Hopefully there is going to be another version of it or a sequel to it. There are multiple ties with the Wayne family as we watch Arthur progress into the role of the Joker. The director, Todd Phillips, did an amazing job building Gotham up in the 1980s in a very dark and filthy era where greed and corruption obviously rules the streets. The runtime on this movie is about 2 hours or just over, and the movie made over $1 billion at the box office, which is unbelievable. So the verdict: do I think that Joaquin Phoenix has a better portrayal of the Joker that Heath Ledger put up on the screen? I'm going to say that it's very much on par with Heath Ledger's performance. They are two different Jokers at two different stages of their criminal lives. So I did have the chance to go and see this at the movies, and I probably would go and see it again if it was at the movies, but I do own it on Blu-ray as well. So if you haven't caught it, it is very much worth checking out, and hopefully there will be a follow-up movie to the Joker. So thank you for tuning in, guys, on my fourth review. Again, really appreciate the likes, the comments, and the follows. So stay tuned. There will be much more content coming your way. Cheers.
People are starting to notice.
You think this is funny? Is this a joke to you?
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?